The painful truth of all of this is that owning a business is not right for everybody. Owning a business, you hear the stories about how awesome it is. You hear the stories of the successes. You hear me brag all the time here about my successes. But the truth is that it's not right for everybody, and only about 5% of people have what it takes to do this. The painful truth is that not everybody's cut out to be a business owner. And another painful truth is that people cling to ideas or concepts or certain ways that they think they can get ahead. And they do this to chase kind of the path of least resistance. And I talk about it all the time. I'm guilty of this, is that, I compare my journey to being like water, chasing the path of least resistance down the hill. And I do think service businesses are a path of least resistance, but the painful truth here, and my fear through all of this, I've said it before and I'll say it again, is that people who are listening to this show 10 years from now, they wake up having started a business, they are underpaid, they're overworked, and they have a business that's not worth very much money. And they basically just have themselves a job. That's my fear. I promote service-based entrepreneurship, and I'm going to talk to you in just a second about how I think it can be translated to other areas. But the bottom line is that owning a business is freaking hard. Owning a business that puts, owning a business the right way. Being a successful business owner. And I can only speak for myself. My version of success is having freedom. My version of success is having generational wealth and freedom of my time. If I don't have to do anything that I don't want to do, then I'm winning. I can control my time. I consider time to be a much more valuable resource than money. Money is important to me, and in order to have freedom of time, you have to have freedom of money, because most people out here, after all, 99% of people are out there trading their time for money in the form of a job. Now, owning a business that puts food on your table is easy. Owning a business that you're involved in, you do work, you get paid, that's the easy part. And 95% of business owners fall into this group. But the thing is, they're not entrepreneurs. You own a job, or I guess put frankly, and this is the painful truth, is that job owns you. Your business owns you. Your business is not the property of you. You are the property of your business. Now, taking yourself out of your company, separating your time from your money, pulling yourself outside of your business, or even if we take a step back and set the bar a little bit lower, creating generational wealth or any kind of significant wealth through entrepreneurship is very, very hard. I would say 5% of the people who try small business and entrepreneurship actually achieve separation of time and real wealth. Now, maybe the odds for us are better because we're going after service-based businesses, we're going after value, we're going after cash flow. Maybe the odds for us are a little bit better. But I'll say that 95% of people fall into that first group. They just have a job. They have no real wealth. They're overworked. They're underpaid. And they have a biz that's worth close to nothing. They have a business that's worth close to nothing because every year they invest all their money in new trucks, new equipment, not really fully understanding that their service business is not worth more than a couple times profits, if they even have any profits at all. Now, let me say something that's contradictory to what I say all the time on this podcast. A rewarding job, having a W-2 job, having a rewarding job, being well compensated, and working with a team of people that you like, doing work that's important to you, that makes you go to bed at night feeling like you accomplished something, and also on top of all of that, having some work-life balance to do what you want to do with some of your time, if not most of your time. That is the best way for most people to maximize happiness and long-term enjoyment and success in this life. Now, you might be thinking, holy shit, Nick, you're throwing this at us now. Why are you throwing this at us now? All you do is promote service-based entrepreneurship. And I'll say something else. All the concepts that I talk about in this podcast can be translated to being a good job employee, to having a successful career, to working for a company the right way and achieving compensation, raising up in a company, adding more value to a company, and ultimately having some work-life balance when you're at a company. I am tired of, especially online, I spend a lot of time on Twitter, I'm tired of people shaming W-2 workers. And when I say W-2 workers, I mean employees. I'm tired of this, oh my God, being a business owner, a startup guy, a gal, somebody who founds companies, it's the only way to go. And I'll tell you that I am more guilty of this than anybody. I talk all the time about how awesome entrepreneurship is. And it is awesome for some people who are cut out for it, but it is not awesome for everybody. I'm tired of the W-2 shaming. I'm tired of people talking down at people who have jobs. Why do we never shame the business owners who work 70 hours a week, who do not know or see their families, who do not have lasting wealth, who do not have separation of time and money, who do not have a business that's worth very much? Why do we glorify them? Why do we glorify their 70-hour work weeks? These folks, many of them don't know their children. Many of them don't know anything about any of their closest friends. Many of them haven't made it to family dinner the last 4 nights in a row. Many of them are divorced. Many of them are unhappy. Many of them are alcoholics. Another big problem in entrepreneurship is addiction. Let me tell you something else. Remote work and companies that hire fully remotely, and I'm one of them. We have 17 employees, all working fully remote. Remote work has allowed people who are serious badasses, people who are good delegators, people who are good managers, people who are good hiring. Listen, all this stuff is the same stuff I preach for making you a good business owner. The employees who are good at all that stuff, the employees who are good at delegation, hiring, managing, firing, customer service, sales, all these things that are so critical, the employees that are good at those things with our remote work culture and how things are shifting, the employees that are good at those things can find phenomenal jobs working 20 to 30 hours a week, or maybe 40 to 50 if they're very excited about their job. But they can work 20 hours a week and earn phenomenal money and do whatever they want the rest of the time. My business partner has a close family member. He works a job remotely and travels the country in a van, in an awesome pimped out Sprinter van, a sleeper van with a kitchen, a really nice van, basically a camper van. Works remotely with a hotspot, travels and kicks ass at his job, and does whatever he wants most of the time. Now, what separates him from an employee that complains about their life and works 70 hours a week and does nothing but cry and whine and complain about how they're overworked and underpaid? What's the difference? I'll tell you. The same thing that separates the successful entrepreneurs from the people who have themselves a job. So let me tell you something. How do you achieve success, happiness, whatever it is, if you have a job? How do you avoid being one of those people that complains about their work-life balance, complains about their crappy bosses, complains about what they're doing, complains about being overworked and overpaid? How do you avoid that? Well, you delegate. Well, you stand up for yourself. Bosses, let me tell you a secret. I'm a boss. I'm guilty of this. Every single boss in the country will lean on busy employees to get things done. They'll lean on their best employees. They'll give more and more and more to the employees that kick more and more and more ass. It's nature. It's natural. We will continue to throw clients at our best producers. We'll continue to throw problems at our best people who solve problems. Now, some people trudge along and take it and roll with the punches. And the next thing you know, they're working 80 hours a week for 5 years straight. They haven't necessarily made more money. Of course, they're making their company more money. They're making their company a ton more money, but maybe they're not seeing hardly any of it. This is the difference. the good employees, they understand what they're doing, they know what they're doing, and they're good at delegating. They're good at managing. They're good at saying no to their boss. They're good at setting expectations. When the boss says, hey, can you handle this? I know it's Friday afternoon and you have a weekend away playing with your family. Can you handle this? No, I'm overloaded, but I can delegate it, or you can delegate it, but I'm on the last 5 projects you gave me. And as you know, I'm doing really well in those projects. I mean, obviously you're never going to talk to your boss this way. I'm dramatizing this, but you're going to respectfully tell your boss that, hey, I don't have the bandwidth. Why are people so afraid of doing that? I manage expectations with customers. I manage expectations with partners. Why are you so afraid of managing expectations to your boss and coworkers? What is stopping you from telling your boss that you need an assistant? If one of my best producing employees came to me and said, I need an assistant, I want to pay them. I want you to pay for my assistant so that I can do more and work a little bit less and enjoy my life a little bit more. I would say, heck yes. If this is not a problem for me and you can produce more and I can let you build a team around yourself, absolutely. It all hinges on a lot of what is talked about in the 4-Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss, a book that catches a lot of slack for being cringeworthy, but man, the concepts are phenomenal. So let me tell you one more time that if your job owns you and you have no work-life balance, it's your fault, even if you're an employee. So if you're listening to this and you are an employee, take the concepts that you're learning here from me and apply them to your job to achieve whatever it is your goals are. Is it working less? Is it doing more? And if you're having fun, if you're in the trenches, if you're working, do it. If you're having fun and you're making more money, do it. Who am I to stop you from working if you love your job? I'm at fault of this. I work a lot because I love what I'm doing. But if you're overworked, if you're underpaid, if your boss leans on you, if your boss takes advantage of you, I'm going to tell you right now that it is your fault. You need to say no more often. You need to delegate. You need to build a team around yourself. And you need to manage the expectations of your customers and your boss and your coworkers. So let me say it one more time. The painful truth of all of this is that owning a business is not right for everybody. Owning a business, you hear the stories about how awesome it is. You hear the stories of the successes. You hear me brag all the time here about my successes. But the truth is that it's not right for everybody, and only about 5% of people have what it takes to do this. You have to make really hard decisions. You have to put yourself in uncomfortable situations. You have to hire, fire, train. You could be the best lawn care specialist in the world. You could be the best plumber in the world, and that does not make you a good lawn care company owner or a good plumbing company owner. Because whatever it is you're actually doing, if you are going to reach success, if you're going to pull yourself out of your company, if you're going to build lasting wealth, it's very unlikely that you're going to do that said thing that you're good at for more than the first couple months on the job. I'll say it one more time. If your goal is to achieve success and separate yourself from your company, you are not going to be a technician in your company executing your company's duties to your clients for very long. And if you are, you're doing it wrong. I'm not saying a one-man shop can't be very successful if you raise your prices and you have the guts and courage to sell and raise your prices. Listen to my episode on here talking about separating yourself and staying small and raising your prices until it's worth it for you. And you can be a one-man shop with a job for yourself that makes a couple $100,000 a year working 20 hours a week. That's another way you can go. But taking yourself out of your company and building lasting wealth is incredibly difficult. Most people can't do it. More people have failed than have succeeded. Just for conversational, I know this is, again, dramatic. This is an exaggeration, but think about it this way. 2 out of 10 people have what it takes to build a company that can clear $500,000 a year in profit. If you start a service business, 2 out of 10 people can make $500,000 a year, can build a company with 5 to 10 employees that can make $500,000 a year. Of those, let's say, of those people who do it, every 10 of those, 2 people have the ability to take that company to $1 million a year. It doesn't seem like a big leap from $500,000 to $1 million, but it is a totally different ballgame. You're turning into CEO, you're building processes, you're hiring, you're firing. Very few people have the ability to do that. Then take it to another level. Of the people who take it to $1 million in profit, 2 out of 10 have the ability to really scale up and take it to a $10 million business. and that's okay. You need to figure out where you're most comfortable, figure out where your strengths are, figure out where your weaknesses are, and build around them, and figure out if you want to build a career working for somebody else and getting paid great and working not that much, not that hard, doing what you love, or if you want to go this route and try to start a business and see if you have what it takes. Now, I'm a proponent of seeing if you have what it takes. You can do this in a low-risk way to find out if you're one of those 2 out of 10 people. To find out is not that risky. So give it a shot. But don't give up on me. Don't stop listening to me if you go get a job. Because everything I talk about here, it's textbook how to add value to a company. And if you can do it as an employee, you can write your ticket. This episode of Sweaty Startup is brought to you by supportshepherd.com. SHEPHERD. They are a full-service headhunting agency in the Philippines to help you find talent for your service business at 20% of the cost of U.S. equivalents. I've hired 8 employees through Support Shepherd. I cannot speak highly enough about how it is revolutionizing my business. This company finds you candidates. They background check them. They do personality tests. They make sure they're a good fit based on your job description. They set up the interviews, and they even help you with the employment contract when you're ready to make the hire. I cannot recommend them enough. Check out supportshepherd.com to learn more.